Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hi, everyone. I hope you'll indulge me just a couple of moments here of your time to make a quick announcement. As you know, I've worked over decades and over the last decade building this channel with thousands of videos of lessons and insights and instruction. And I have a website to match it with lots of free information. There's free podcasts. There's the bookstore. There's the mandala store. The whole mission here is to support your practice and build your confidence daily for manifesting your maximum potential. Yes? In that regard, I decided recently to demonetize my videos because, quite frankly, how can you pay attention and focus and be motivated to practice Buddhism when you're constantly being barraged by commercials? So, no more, right? Although it wasn't, because of the size of our Sangha and the way YouTube works now, it's not nearly as supportive as it used to be. So that's another reason why bother, right? But YouTube has come up with another way to help support, and I thought I would give it a try and see if it's not obtrusive, and see if you guys would participate or enjoy this avenue towards supporting the Sangha and all these resources. And that is a join button. And so you'll see that really soon. It'll pop up. And when you join, there's 4 different levels of joining, whatever. And, by simply being here, you're a part of the Sangha. You don't have to pay a membership fee or any of that. This is just an option. And as a thank you for committing to a donation, a regular donation, I will send you a PDF copy of, depending on the level, 1, 2, 3, 5 books. And that could include a TIFF or a PDF high resolution of a Nichiren inscribed mandala, but also the liturgy, the Gango book, Buddhism Reference, my annotated Threefold Lotus Dharma Sutra book. They're all listed in the join. So take a look, take a moment, click the button and see what's on offer. And if it works for you, we would be eternally grateful. We would be very grateful for the support to keep things going here. Okay? That's all I wanted to say. And thank you, as always, for your support, just being here, liking and subscribing. And if you're already buying ebooks and purchasing other books, you're part of the Sangha and you're supporting. So thank you for that, right? But look for that join button, right? Just check it out, see if it works for you. If I don't get much action on it, well, I'll discontinue it. But at least it's not interrupting every darn video, is it? So, so it's just another way for you to participate in keeping us afloat. Thanks again. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Enjoy the video. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hi, folks. How you doing today? I hope you're in good health and safe. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. PrajnaParamita. We've talked about paramitas. We've talked about prajna. We've talked about the penetrations, the vows, the what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, of the paramitas, the PrajnaParamita is of particular note simply because there are sutras dedicated just to that particular paramita. From Wikipedia, which is a compendium of many inputs and not always reflective of Nichiren's doctrine, the most modern doctrine for our era of Buddhist practice, but there's often a lot of good information there. I captured some history of this term that I thought was befitting not our knowledge of the PrajnaParamita, even though you might ask, well, if it's not part of Nichiren's doctrine and the Lotus Sutra in general, then why are we talking about it? Well, because you're going to run into this term several times as you study, depending on the translation, depending on the authorship and what group. There's always hidden agendas, not so hidden most of the time, that come through in religious rhetoric. You've heard me talk about this a million times. So it's good for you to have a basis knowledge, but I will start right away by letting you know that when we chant Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, this is exactly a part of what we instantiate, right? If you're going to enlighten your mind, if you're going to open that Gohanzon door, like the Buddha eye, like the Gohanzon is like the eyelid of Buddha, if you will, and you open that maximal potential of your karmic momentum, are you not achieving as part of everything, the clarity that you have, the knowledge, the experience of all-knowing every phenomena of the cosmos, which is Buddhahood, is not an enlightened mind part of that? How could it not be? It's simply instantiated along with all of the other clarities that, or purifications that we've been reading about, right, throughout the sutras. It's all within Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Myoho Renge Kyo, those 5 characters, represent all 69,384 characters of the Lotus teaching, which those characters contain the wisdom of the 50 years of teaching of Shakyamuni Buddha. So it's all wrapped into that one chant. So PrajnaParamita, this article is about the Buddhist concept and text for the Buddhist goddess. See PrajnaParamita Devi, and again, this is early Hinayana personifications of these ideas. PrajnaParamita means the perfection of wisdom or transcendental knowledge. Now, you might read those differently, many would, but the indication here is, do you see the wide breadth of English words used to try to capture these ancient concepts, right? Shared verbally in Prakrit, then translated into Sanskrit, Pali, Gandhari, several languages, and then transferred into Chinese by other scholars. We owe a lot as Japanese Nichiren Buddhists, not that that converts us to a nationality, I'm just saying, as origin goes, to the Chinese scholarship for hundreds of years, yeah. So perfection of wisdom or transcendental knowledge seem like 2 different things to a Westerner. But the point is that prajna is not only something that takes personal effort, perfection of wisdom, but that when achieved, that knowledge, that knowing, that experience comes with a profound paradigm shift in what it is that is, quote, known. In Mahayana and Theravada Buddhism, because this concept goes all the way back. But as Mahayanas, we understand it differently. As Mahayanas, we think of it as perfection of wisdom, right? Whereas a little bit more woo-woo of an idea in early Buddhism, transcendental knowledge. Prajnaparamita refers to a perfected way of seeing the nature of reality, as well as to a particular body of Mahayana scriptures, sutras, which discusses this wisdom. Prajnaparamita may also refer to the female deity Prajnaparamita Devi, a personification of the perfection of wisdom, also known as the Great Mother, who was widely depicted in South Asian Buddhist art. The word Prajnaparamita combines the Sanskrit words prajna, or wisdom, or knowledge, with paramita, or perfection, or transcendent, or that effort, that goal, that vow. Prajnaparamita is a central concept in Mahayana Buddhism and is generally associated with ideas such as emptiness, sunyata, lack of svabhava, essence, and the illusory maya, the nature of things. How all phenomena are characterized by non-arising, anutpada, or i.e. unborn, and the madhyamaka thought of Nagarjuna. Its practice and understanding are taken to be indispensable elements of the Bodhisattva path. According to Edward Kanzi, the Prajnaparamita Sutras are a collection of about 40 texts, so on and so forth, composed somewhere on the Indian subcontinent between approximately 100 BC and AD 600. Some Prajnaparamita Sutras are thought to be among the earliest Mahayana Sutras. Interesting, right? Now, we touched on a subject here that we've talked about before and may come up again here as we work our way through Buddhism Reference. And that is the nature of things, the illusory nature of things, the lack of svabhava, or essence. Essence, that's one of those English terms that, what does that mean? Is that spiritual? Is that physical? Is that energy? Is that material? What the heck is going on? And I just read something of Nagarjuna's on the Great Vehicle. I'm not sure if this is the right place, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because it just amazes me. Now, the Great Vehicle, what is the Great Vehicle? Anyone remember? There'll be a test. The Great Vehicle, if you'll remember, is one of the consistent epithets of the Lotus Sutra. Right? When we read the Immeasurable Meanings or Immeasurable Meanings Sutra, the prologue to the Lotus Sutra, constantly referring to the Great Vehicle. Even when we began the Lotus Sutra proper, it too used that moniker, the Great Vehicle, right? Or the Great One Vehicle Sutra. So once again, if Nagarjuna wrote these verses, we know that the Lotus Sutra must predate Nagarjuna, right? There are people who wrestle with when and who wrote the Lotus Sutra. That's a distraction, right? But listen to what he says in these verses. Just blew me away. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll just read a few statements. Homage to the inconceivably powerful Buddha, his understanding free from ties. Ties being attachments, yes? By whose uttered teachings the unutterable is taught out of kindness. Buddhas and sentient beings have the same characteristics, which are much like space. Characteristics which are much like space. Now, this is really a critical understanding of Buddhism. Essentially, they do not arise, and in truth, they do not become extinct. How can something become extinct if it never was there to begin with? What do you mean, Nagarjuna? In the sphere of omniscient knowledge, even mental activities are void. Much like the two banks of a river, they have arisen, essentially born of interdependence. All existence is essentially considered to resemble a reflected image, pure, tranquil in its self-nature, non-dual, and resembling its true nature. Ordinary people think there is a self in what is without self, and that enjoyment, suffering, impartiality, and defilements, all of these are real. And I'll stop there. There's more on this. This is a really great insight. The point is that we perceive something with our human samsaric mind, and the moment we perceive it, which I'll remind you, all perception is a discernment of one, not another. It's always dual, right? Like the two banks of a river. You can't have one bank of a river, otherwise the river would just spill out and dry up, and that would just be an incline. The other bank of the river must exist in order for there to be a river for which we call out banks of that river. Without the river, there are no banks. Without two banks, there is no river, there are no banks. How many ways can we say this? The point is not whether or not there's a river or banks. The point is how we think about what we observe. And if we understand that what we observe goes on in the mind, that because we observe something doesn't make it so, that we observe things in the moments of their instantiation. And so therefore there is no bank, there is no river. We just observe something happening and we give it labels. But those labels don't mean that those are permanent things. All we're doing is identifying a process. It's like wind, right? Can you see wind? No. You can feel wind. You can see trees bending and label what is bending them wind. Can you see the molecules of air? No. See, everything is like that. Everything is like this. This is transcendental knowledge, right? Okay. Thank you for listening. Take care of your health. Links in the description below if you're looking for study materials or just simply ways of supporting this endeavor, this Sangha. And if you've got all the books and you've got all that you need and the free podcast and all that stuff, please consider joining or go through Patreon or PayPal, whatever you're most comfortable with. I've demonetized all the videos, so your support is it for me and this Sangha. So thank you. In the meantime, please take care of your health. Keep your practice strong. And I will see you real soon in the next one. Bye for now.